Hello and welcome to the second video in our series of 3D printing for beginners. Today we're going to be focusing on FDM printers. If you're brand new to this, don't worry, we're going to keep it simple, practical, and beginner friendly. In this episode, we're going to go over the different types of FDM machines, how FDM printing actually works, the filaments you need, the tools and materials you might want to buy and get ready with, and finally, what to do next. So let's start just by talking about the different types of FDM printers. So first of all, we have what's referred to as a bed slitter. This is where the bed is moving in the Y direction, and the head will be moving up and down the Z direction and across the board in the X direction. This is one of the most common printers. The older printers have this. It's a good entry-level machine. The difference being with a Core XY. With a Core XY, the only thing that moves on the bed is the up and down direction, and the head, which is underneath here, is moving in X, Y, and Y. The difference being that there's less vibration on the part as it's being printed, so you have a more consistent print since it's only going up and down, and the main movements are done on the head. We do have older machines similar to this Creality Ender, which is a bed slinger, and we'll get more into that. You have the newer machines as well. Another main difference is whether it's open framed or enclosed. As you could see on this X1 Carbon, it's an enclosed printer. These are open frame. The open frame printers are just fine for your basic filaments, but when you need a temper controlled ambient real heated chamber, you're going to want a closed printer. Now, it is possible also to add an enclosure around the printer, like our hotbox. Here we're showing you a hotbox around a P1P machine. You can see how it encloses it to really keep that heat in and go up a great ambient when you get into more advanced printing. So many hobbyist printers, the old style printers, they require a lot of tinkering and adjustments, modifications. They're a little bit more DIY. They're a great experience for learning how a printer works and how to disassemble and reassemble and how to upgrade. The newer machines, like the Bandurs that really led the market in easy-to-use printers, are really plug and play. For the most part, you load your model and you send it to print, and it does a great job. And when it does need maintenance, these machines have great UIs that are user interface, which walks you through the maintenance. So it's pretty easy to update the machine and repair it. So let's go over how 3D printing actually works. So first of all, you have your spool of filament at the top, and it's fed into the machine through these tubes. And then you have what's called an extruder down here. Now, this is a direct rod extruder. I'll explain the difference in a second. The extruder is actually a bunch of gears and motors that's pushing the filament down into the hot end. Down here at the tip, we have a heated tip. You don't want to touch that when it's hot. That's melting the filament, and it's contouring it into the shape of the nozzle size. This lowers to the bed, and it actually draws a first layer on the bed in a 2D type of drawing of molten filament. And then slowly either the head raises or the bed drops, depending on the machine, and it prints the next layer on top of that. And then it repeats it for hundreds or thousands of times until you built your whole model. You will see some slight layer lines in there because of each layer being built on top of another, but it prints really incredible prints. One key difference to note, in the older machines, they had a boating drive. What this meant was the extruder was on the back of the machine, not towards the front, and that's pulling the filament through and pushing it. These are a little less accurate, more finicky, harder to print flexible filaments and other things, but everything is possible. The direct drive is really where you want to go. One of the most important things, like I was saying, as it's printing that first layer, is getting the first layer to stick well and keeping it down. If that first layer should ever peel and the model starts to peel as it's being built, it's going to create a failure. It could create a clump of material on your hot end. It could pull the part off the base. So our first layer adhesion is one of the most important parts of 3D printing, and we'll be talking a lot about that in future videos. So one of the advantages of FDM printing is the wide variety of filaments that come ready for the machine. Some of your most easy to print basic starting prints will be done with PLA. Many great brands out there, many great colors. You could even start with TPU, these flexible rubbery filaments that print really soft and resilient models, which is wonderful. PLA and many filaments come with all different effects. We can go with silky colors. We can go with two-tone colors. You can go with foaming filaments and softer and harder filaments. And then we start getting into more advanced filaments. In the future, you might want to lean towards nylons. This is a PA, which is a nylon with carbon fiber in it, so it's super robust. But this is going to require a glue stick on your bed, a heated chamber, and a lot more setting of your settings to be able to get this to print right. In the end, you could print real industrial mechanical parts with a lot of advanced filaments. Like I said, I would start with PLA and TPU to get started. Other easy to print filaments are PETG is tough as heck. So it's resilient, it'll flex, it won't break, it'll bend. This is pretty easy to print, so I would start there. PCTG is another derivative, even tougher than PETG, and a lot of fun to print with. And then, of course, PLA, which is a rigid material, but if you flex it too much, it's going to crack. Some machines come with a multicolor filament feeder. In bamboo, they call it an AMS. The beauty of this is we can print multicolor prints. As it's laying down each layer, it's changing the color in the nozzle, and it's printing that area until it builds up the whole print. So that's another plus to FDM printing, which is great when you start to have multicolor filament changes like you could see here. Some general tips about temperatures. You do want to make sure your bed temperature is the temperature that the manufacturer of your build plate recommends. And your spool or filament temperature, you want to look on the side of the spool at the settings. And you can see the range. In this case, 190 to 220. I would choose a middle range to start with. So it might be about 210, 205. And then after you see the results, you could always adjust from there. Okay, so some materials, tools you're going to need to get started. Really not too much. Of course, your filaments, like I said, start with some PLAs and TPUs. You're going to need some isopropyl alcohol. You can get this at the pharmacy, 70% or higher. This is great for cleaning your build plates between prints. You don't want to be touching, like I'm doing, hand oils and different components from the filament manufacturer are all going to be depositing onto this bed and eventually contaminating it and decreasing the adhesion. So generally I use fresh paper towel, no shop rag please, a little bit of alcohol. I give it a quick clean in between prints, and that's going to pull up any oils or contaminants that the filaments have laid down, and you're going to have much more consistent long use of your build plates with great adhesion. Another thing you might want to get is a Scotch spray pad, composite abrasive pad, or steel wool. These are used also to rejuvenate especially the PEX between prints. It can be used also on powder painted PEI build surfaces. When you notice a loss of adhesion, it's basically, once again, scrubbing that first layer so that it opens the pores all over again, and of course clean with IP and alcohol. Another thing you're going to want to do is have a set of basic tools. Some printers come with some of them that you need, many do not have them all. Wham Bam does offer a nozzle maintenance kit, which is relatively inexpensive, which has almost everything you're going to need to ever do any maintenance. And it has these handy hot end cleaners that allow you to push through from the top to clear a clog, and that's going to save so much work whenever you get a clog, and clogs are just infamous for happening on your printers. Some nozzle needles which allow you You pull one out and show you. They're basically acupuncture needles to the size of the nozzle, and you would put that in from underneath with the nozzle heated to clear the blockage from underneath. And then it comes with a bunch of wrenches and other great tools. Another big upgrade you might want to consider for your machine are the build plates. Almost every machine now comes with them. Wham Bam was one of the first ones to create the build plates, and we've been developing and improving on our build plates ever since. We have our own production, which makes the build plates the best they could be for 3D printing. The basic varieties are powder painted PEI. You'll see this all over the place. It has a powder painted finish of PEI component. We use true Old Pen brand PEI, which is authentic Old Pen for great grip. It gives you a textured surface on the bottom, which is gorgeous. We have our PEX, which is a smoother surface. And if you're hitting it with Scotch-Brite or steel wool in between, you get a semi-gloss, beautiful matte finish for life. Wham Bam also offers, for the higher-end, high-performance filaments, authentic carbon fiber sheets. These are really wonderful because it's almost impossible to damage them, and they really accept a whole range of high-performance permanents. Now, there are other build plates out there, like Key C build surfaces, which require low heat, some low heat build surfaces. They're good. I'm a little worried about their longevity. If you put on there a PVG or another higher temperature filament than is recommended, you're going to destroy it. So I'd be wary of that. Effect sheets are really fun and cool, and lots of people offer these prismatic effect sheets, but same thing. It's for PLA only, and they will wear out. So those are really consumables. If you want a build plate that lasts, you might want to consider investing in a build plate from Wham Bam. Okay, hopefully this was helpful. In the next episode, we're going to cover how to find 3D models and possibly even create your own, how to prepare them for printing, basically how to use your slicer, and what actually matters on the slicing. So that'll be coming up. Please watch for that. If this helped you, please consider subscribing so you don't miss the next video. Like the video. Add your comments about what you want to see in future videos. It helps us to create the content that our viewers most are interested in. Thank you very much.